Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow.
Take the message, everybody.
Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives
This is
after
attorney
them.
Shellen
Your
Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Kellyan Mall, 162 Lamaha Street in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins firm.
take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your
All right, hey, guess what? It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Good evening. My name is Mark Benshap, and thank you much for sharing the link. Thank you much for joining us this evening. Let's get a few things out of the way, right? I know all day you've been hearing about these meetings that don't really amount to much other than a quick photo op and so forth. But we see the facial expression of that particular guy. He's not too happy. He's not too comfortable. He knows that a lot has not been gained. And they know that they will have to respond to the Chinese when they reach back to Guyana. And I can tell you guys right off the bat that the Chinese will invite Irfan Ali and the same crew to Beijing. Maybe pretty soon. We are going to see a power play here. The Chinese are going to be adamant that, look, they have to be the number one investors and the number one business people who get all of the contracts in Guyana. They are the ones who are more, favorable in terms of giving a bribe. That's according to what we heard in Vice News, giving a bribe and corruption and so forth. And these guys are not church guys. They're not mandir guys. They're not mosque kind of guys. They are, based on what came out of Vice News, mind you, the allegations of corruption and bribery and so forth. So when they sat there at the State Department, I am almost certain, we are almost certain that the State Department officials, and they're sitting there in that office, they're faced, look this, let's look at this thing here, right? Take a good look at this picture. I know that the PPP guys are upset. They're upset because we use the word summon. that Jack Deal and Irfan and these guys were summoned to Washington, D.C. That's exactly what it is, right? They were summoned. Nothing substantial came out of this particular meeting or even the meeting with the U.S. Deputy Secretary of Commerce. And you heard Tom Anderson earlier that the Deputy Secretary of Commerce is a very, very important guy. He's an advisor to President Joe Biden and so forth. So he has the ears of the president. Very powerful position, as much as he's just the deputy, still powerful. And the Commerce Secretary or the Deputy Secretary, they deal with commerce, of course, trade, investments, and so forth. Many years ago, maybe sometime back in 1997, the U.S. had its first African-American U.S. Secretary of Commerce under Bill Clinton. His name was Ron Brown. Ron Brown died in a plane crash somewhere out in the Balkans, right? Those of you who are old enough to remember that, Ron Brown. And he was in that very powerful position. This guy that Irfan Ali they met with today is the deputy, one step away, but still a powerful individual indeed. All right, so what else you want to discuss before we get back to all of these meetings, or maybe we should just deal with that. Lemon, here we go. This is the Secretary of State, the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, and President of Guyana, Sarah, and U.S. Secretary, again, the U.S. Ambassador to Guyana, Sarah Ann Lynch is there. The other faces are quite familiar. The lady all the way to the right has visited Guyana not so far ago. And next to Mr. Blinken is responsible for Western Hemisphere. And the lady to the second, to the right, familiar face to all of us. And what is it that we can say? Look at the facial expression. Look at the body language. I like to look into these things, body language, facial expression. It is what it is. Take a look across the floor now, and let's read into this here now. Sam Hines, in a daydream, he doesn't know what's happening. The guy to the extreme left seemed to be happy just to be there, to meet with the U.S. Secretary of State. He's going to definitely show his kids that they're all going to be happy. Sam Hines, like I've said, he's in La La Land, doesn't have an idea, a clue as to what's happening. Jack Davis vexed, he's being grilled. They're not going easy on them. This is not a friendly visit. It's just not, regardless of how the PPP wants to twist it and turn it. It's just not. I mean, look, the U.S. meant well in terms of inviting them and pull this power move, and that's what it is. And to have these guys sitting there like little boys in the headmaster's office. This reminds me of going into the headmistress office. And those of you from the quarantine would know headmistress Storty and so forth. And you go in front of the headmistress office or the headmaster's office, and you're in trouble. Now looking at these guys know they're in trouble, right? They don't know what to expect. They don't know what to discuss. They just don't know what to say. Take a look at Jack Deer's face. Take a look at Hugh Todd's face. And take a look at how this guy to the right, Prasad, whatever his name is, look, we already have the trench crappos coming in. This is the standard way of me. Get out of here, man. We don't have time with these guys and their crap. But this is the standard way of meeting. What do you know of meeting? Give me a break. Get out. Yeah, thank you so much. Get him out of here, Lemon. standard way of meeting. And what standard way of meeting? Anyways, let's get back into let's get right back into get right back into the facial expression. It's not what you think it is. It's what have they walked away with? For those of you who probably read the press release, what have they walked away with? So, U.S. Secretary of State Blinken walked into to the room. That's the Thomas Jefferson room you're seeing there. He walked in. He said, "Hey, well, good afternoon, everyone." Right? He said, "Good afternoon. We've come off a very important and good summit of Americas, right? Particularly as well our meetings with the CARICOM countries. Guyana has been a very strong partner for the United States and also in many ways, a global leader, right? I would note that quite remarkably, I think like 86% of Guyana is forest. Okay, well, Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, is on to something. 86% of Guyana is forest, but I am almost certain that Blinken knows, U.S. Secretary of State, Blinken knows that outside of forest and so forth, that this man owns a heck of a lot of forest land in Guyana. Sue, a good friend of Barrett, Jackdale, Irfan Ali, and the PPP. So Blinken knows that. He knows exactly what they have done, and he went straight to the chase. He went straight to it. Now, these guys will be diplomatic, right? They will be diplomatic. They will be subtle. And Jack Dale knows that very well. Hence, he's watching, he's listening, while Blinken is telling them like it is that, look, this is what we want. So Blinken continues. Blinken says, well, look, the United States is very eager to continue to deepen and strengthen the partnership that we have on all these issues and more. Georgetown is also the seat, of course, of CARICOM. And this for us is very important and vital institution. And that's what he's saying. To Irfan Ali, it's important and it's a vital, institution. So I look forward to continuing the conversations that we all started there with CARICOM, that is, the U.S. Secretary of State is saying that, et cetera, et cetera. So the floor was handed over to Irfan Ali. Irfan Ali had an opportunity now to say something, right? Mr. Blinken already introduced himself, and they went on. Secretary of State Blinken spoke about the reason for this meeting here today. And that's not what on Jack Deere's mind, because he's not seeing Sue around. There's no offering of anything. And when I say offering, I really do mean church offerings or whatever. So there's nothing of that sort. So here is what Irfan Ali said in response, and a prepared speech, a note, because he can't speak off the top of his head. And of course, yes, he can. If he does speak off the top of his head, more likely this is how he sounds. But today he had a prepared speech were he to speak off the top of his head, and this is how Irfan speaks off the top of his head.
Entire international community spoke about the attempts to rig an election, spoke about the attempt democracy from the people of this country. Let's fix that first.
Okay, so that's not how he spoke, and whenever he speaks without a written speech in front of him, that's exactly how he behaves, the hand movements and so forth. But this is what he said right after U.S. Secretary of State Blinken made his introductory remark. Ali said, "Thank you very much, Secretary Blinken. First of all, allow me to express our gratitude for this meeting. We are very pleased to be here." Oh, yes, of course, you're very pleased to be there, right? You guys had no other choice but to sit there and listen to what Blinken and his team had to say. But Quite interestingly, though, Irfan Ali now says in all these areas, Guyana is already providing leadership. Are you kidding me? Now let's get back to the part. This is what the Irfan Ali says. We just came out of a very successful summit of the Americas in which we identified some critical issues for CARICOM. Well, actually, Maya Motley and all those other folks did all of the talking. Irfan Ali just didn't. As a region, right? So he says, Irfan, that is food security, energy security, financing, and the issue of climate change. Now, you may ask the question, what the heck Irfan Ali knows about climate change? What does he know about energy security, food security, when in the country, guess what's gone up? Cost of living gone sky high. Anyways, he says, in all these areas, Guyana is already providing leadership. And now the question, what leadership and where? Again, just talking points. Talking points. So he says he's pleased to be there and whatever. And that's just what it is. But what's interesting, though, he says in conclusion, says here, finding a balanced development strategy and doing so, staying true to the value system, principles that both of us, meaning both Guyana and the US, believe so strongly in. Here is the laugh. That is democratic society, where transparency, accountability, and strong governance support for the development of Guyana. Now, this couldn't possibly come from Irfan Ali because these are the areas that they are lacking. These are the areas that they destroy Guyana with. And look, this guy had the audacity to sit there and look Blinken in the eyes. I'm sure Blinken knows better. Irfan Ali says that is democratic society where transparency, accountability, and strong governance support for the development of Guyana. Give me a major break. Accountability, development, and transparency of Guyana? No, absolutely not. That is not Irfan Ali. That is not Guyana. And that is not how they govern Guyana. We all know that by now. Okay? All of us know that by now. That is not how they govern Guyana. But what have they walked away with from this whole PR stunt? Absolutely nothing, just a couple of photographs. They met with a couple of people, and that's just what it is. They're being put back in line, as Tom Anderson says, but I need to get some of your comments and how you see this, how you view this. I'm looking at and reading some of your comments, and some folks calling them the dunce tug and all manner of things. So that is expected. This comment, Irfan looked lost, embarrassment to himself and the Guyanese people. And we all know that. We all know that, indeed. We all know that. Let's see what Ian Williams is saying here. Hey, Mark and Knight, I want to know why Sarah has to go with the Guyana delegation. Sarah Lynch is the U.S. ambassador to Guyana. And so had it been any other U.S. ambassador, then by all right, the U.S. ambassador has to be there. I know how you guys feel about Sarah. This might be a good move for Sarah as well, because her time has run out as ambassador there. She is on expired time, actually. I heard that she may be out of there by December. If she's not out of there by December, don't expect her to be out of there by the next year, because she retires in about a year or two time, and she may want to spend her time just prior to retirement right there in Guyana as ambassador. So a lot of things are being played out behind the scene. That's all I can say at this point in time. Lots of things are being played out. And I know even with all that is being played out, you guys are becoming more and more frustrated as to the level of governance and disrespect in Guyana. I know exactly how you guys feel. Okay. But there are other things that we want to talk about before we get back to that. apart from sugar price and these things. We're not talking about that. You guys already know that. You guys already know about the long lines. You guys already know about the discrimination, the racial discrimination, and all manner of things. You guys also know that emancipation is around the corner. We're not hearing any sort of financing to African Guyanese groups and organizations to assist with emancipation celebrations all across Guyana. We're not seeing that. They're not giving a cent. But I'm almost certain that when they head back to Guyana, you're going to hear Agda got like a little $5 million, a little $3 million. But they're giving millions upon millions to their friends and cronies to hold, Juve, jump up, wind up, and all these different things. Let's touch on this now. We haven't mentioned Priya in a while. And the Ministry of Education, they're comfortable using this word blacks. And then some of their supporters argued, well, David Hines used the word blacks, right? I mean, so what if David Hines uses the word blacks? It doesn't mean that, and there are other individuals, I'm sure, who use other terms to discuss, let us say, Portuguese. Somebody may say Portuguese. So because Tony Vera, oops, sorry I mentioned Tony Vera's name, he's quiet now. He used to be sugar expert, everything expert on GuySuCo, but he's quiet. He got a position. I think he's maybe a director at GuySuCo. So we're not hearing much, anything at all from Tony Vera. He's probably just comfortable getting his little hefty salary at the end of the month, and that's it. So anyways, say for example, if Tony Vera, or forget about Tony, just forget about him, man. But let's say my late maternal grandfather, who was Portuguese, and let's say if he describes himself as Portuguese, does that mean that the education department has to put there as a people, the Portuguese came from where? Madeira? Is that fair? No, you can't. So not because you hear David Hines and others may use the word blacks mean that it's politically correct, that it's appropriate for the Ministry of Education to use the word blacks. But this is what's happening. Look, they put here, she put here, and this is the disrespect they have for persons of African descent. All of the other ethnic groups, East Indians, properly worded, Portuguese, properly worded, Amerindians, well, our Amerindian brothers and sisters prefer the politically correct term, which is indigenous. So that should change to indigenous. But look at the barefacedness with these people, blacks. The blacks came from West Africa. The blacks came from West Africa. And so blacks, one could safely say that blacks came from India as well. If we're going to talk about blacks came from India as well, because a lot of the folks who came from South India, that's where all of the folks, came, indentured servants, they were blacks. Anyways, enough of Priya. She doesn't know better, but it shows the mindset of Priya Manikchand. She was arguing practically all day yesterday with Apostle London about and being sympathetic and say this is old, it was there, and all manner of things. But hey, it is what it is, right? So Priya Manikchand and this entire crew sitting there, we shall just give them an early award before we move on with tonight's program. All right, so I noticed someone here is saying that we are Negroes. Oh, really? The police department actually described persons of African descent as Negroes, and that's not a politically correct term at all. Back in the days, yeah, they were used, and people were playing around with what's the proper usage of the term. But African is the correct African American, African Guyanese, African Bajans, whatever it is, that's the politically correct term. There are others who use other sort of, terms such as blacks and so forth. But we've got to be politically correct in terms of our usage of this term. So I say kudos to the Guyana Police Force. They no longer use the term Negro. It's 2020, what is it, 2022. Negro is totally unacceptable. So let's see here, Princess, sorry about that, but no Negro for me at all. All right, what else is on your mind? Let's check what's on your mind, and we can take it from here. I notice, and this is not far-fetched, Miss Desiree Simmons is saying next Priya Manikchand will write blacks came from black land. Well, they already think so. Right? All right, sorry, I'm just looking at some of your comments to include you. I know we have done a lot of talking today, and so I just want to include you in this discussion as well to see what is bothering you, what's on your mind, and so forth. So feel free to give your comments, make your comments, and we will just cruise all through until 10 o'clock. We're not going a minute over 10 o'clock, not a minute over 10 o'clock. What else you guys want to discuss? We practically discussed everything all day, all single day. We were on their track. We didn't give them an opportunity to come out and spread their propaganda. We cut them in their tracks early o'clock and didn't allow them for that, the propaganda. So let's see what is happening. Somebody wants Marlene Joseph. Somebody says we'll get to that shortly. Hi, Lemon. How are you doing? Your TV is a bit loud in the studio. Yep. Thank you. I'm good, thank you. I noticed that you called out sick, and wherever you are, it sounds as though you're in a rum shop, but that's okay. Lemon, what's happening? Cost of living gone up, sugar gone up, everything gone up in Guyana. What's your take, man?
My take, I see, as I said, I was giving total attention on the install regime. I see they went in Washington, kind of lies about the place. And things are bad. Everything got in Guyana right now. Flour, sugar, imagine sugar went up in Guyana. And then only 1 pound of sugar per household. That's terrible.
And the funny thing is they laugh about what is it? They complain about what happened on the Bornholm and PNC, but look, 2022, and look the lines of sugar.
Well, the lines are very long, and I hope people don't forget these things and pay attention. And when it's the next election, you vote them out. Because all the concern is about the rich, the big hotels. They not about the poor people, the young men, the poor people. big hotels. That's what I'm concerned about.
So what, people are going to go to bed tonight with a hotel room in their pockets or something? Is that how they attempt to feed people?
Well, it seems like that. What I'm saying, next election, we try to vote them out.
What have you been hearing on the ground in terms of the high cost of living? Sugar, rice, every single thing gone up.
Well, I think, everybody keep calling me, complaining to me about, the price of sugar, the price of everything, and that is very sad. It's very sad to see what's going on.
So, Lemon, what is your take? I know you haven't been on for a while, but what is your take quickly on Irfan's visit to Washington, D.C. and so forth? What is your take?
My take is, the Secretary of State invited him to Washington, and he looks scared. He's talking, he looks scared.
You think he really looks scared, or he just intimidated?
Yes. He's intimidated, very intimidated. You don't know what to say. I didn't hear from his vice president or the Jagdi or whatever his name is.
Very, very silent indeed. But Lemon, anything else quickly before you go, sir?
No, well, I hope to be back to work in the next two weeks or so.
All right. Yeah, hope so. Hopefully.
Trying to enjoy the vacation, and I hope I'll be back in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, hopefully by the time you get back to work, you'll still have your job.
Well, I try to fix a technical problem from home, And
all right, Lemon. We'll think about whether to give you your job back or not. But thank you, sir.
Well, I have to ask the audience, our listening public.
All right.
They want me to be fired or they want me back.
Well, we'll see how they take. We'll see how they think about that, or what their take is on that.
Or you give me my own program.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Our operator Lemon, who went out on vacation, but seems to be enjoying himself. He is definitely enjoying himself. All right. So I spoke with whom today. They were supposed to have meetings with some congressional individuals, and that just isn't going to happen for the most part. Maybe they'll meet with guys like Gregory Weeks, or Meeks, sorry. Let me see here what Ms. Booker say, Mark. But what's Mark Phillips' portfolio? Why he's not on that Washington trip? Well, like you heard, Tom Anderson said last night that Mark Phillips is not that important. Mark Phillips is not that important. In fact, Mark Phillips is just not important to be there. In fact, all of these guys are not just important. Let me respond to Diane Ramnarayan. Does anyone know of any emancipation problems in quarantine? Want to the kids and literally can't find any. Okay. So Diane is asking a question here. Diane is asking a question. Diane is asking a question here. And let me, if you guys can help me answer the question. Diane is asking, does anyone know of any emancipation celebration? Sorry, Diane, these things do happen. Anyone knows of any emancipation celebration out there on the quarantine? And what Diane is saying is that she wants to find out for her kids. People do make these typo and so forth. Errors, it happens. So Diane Ramnarine, I got your point. So no need to be embarrassed. And we are not. We know that this is a genuine error on your part. But usually Kildonan and those villages have celebrations. I don't know what is happening there now because the regime, the installed regime, feels that they're the ones that they worked hard for the billions of dollars that we're getting from the oil and so forth. So they want to spend it however they want to spend it. So, and they prefer to go and give Polori lady a bunch of money. Polori man, they prefer to give another guy that allegedly burned up his own old beat up minibus and these things. They prefer to do that. But it's the 25th already, and no monies have been given to African organizations in Guyana to prepare. And mind you, giving them that money, it's not the PPP's money, it is not Jack Deere's money. Jack Deere money may very well, mind you, I'd say, may very well be out there in Beijing, in a bank account in Beijing, billions of dollars, according to the rumors, mind you. So that's just what they're doing. They're not going to give, but they're going to rush back and give a couple of sprinkle. They're going to take a photo with Agda, handing a little $5 or $6 million. And Eric Phillips might just be in that photo to collect it. Good evening to Eric Phillips. And that's what they believe, that these organizations are worth crumbs. But the other organizations are worth billions and hundreds of millions and millions upon millions. But African organizations, you just give them a little 2 million, 3 million, and they're happy, right? This time around, I wouldn't be surprised if he gives them a little 20 million and splatter it around the place to make it appear that he's doing something. Timberland Yearwood Ben is saying here that they have something at Evesham. Well, I hope they have something, and the something that they have at Evesham village on the quarantine. And for those of you who don't know Evesham, Evesham is next to, it's after Brighton, and after Brighton, that's heading east, you will find Evesham. And after Evesham, you will find Epsom. So between those villages, Brighton, Evesham, Epsom, and then after Epsom, there's Bengal, right? Timberland, you remember that gas station at Bengal, but we're not here to talk about gas station. Those are the villages that will come together and have the Emancipation celebration. So we will be following the Emancipation celebration because we want to carry as much as possible live events so that people can see that African culture is still strong. Africans are strong people, right? Despite what some of them like to say, description such as hungry belly and all these manner of things, they don't bother us. At least don't bother me at all with that. Let me see what else. Lynette Nelson is saying, our people give up their culture and play in Pagua. But back in the early 1900s, Pagua was celebrated. It was basically there's a group from West Africa. It's called the Fulani, the Fula. So in Guyana, and this is just my interpretation, mind you, right? Because on the quarantine, we would call a Muslim brother or sister Fula man, right? And no disrespect to our Muslim brothers and sisters. I see Jamal that is listening. Jamal, salam alaikum to you. But that was not, when you call a Muslim Fula, they didn't take that too lightly. But years later, because on the quarantine, when we use those terms, but years later, I found out that Fula is actually a tribe, I believe, right, out in Nigeria. So the folks who were celebrating Pagua and so forth, they were celebrating something close to Pagua. And all of our Indian brothers and sisters back then, and our African brothers, and they got together and they play something that looked like Pagua, right? It's holy, but something that looks like Pagua by the Fulla. And now I understand. Some of you who are from the quarantine and would have probably you heard calling our Muslim brothers and sisters Fulla and didn't like it. Fulla is actually an African, a tribe out there in Nigeria. Fulla. So years later, I now get to understand why they didn't like that term Fulla. Because we would say Fulla Gula Gula. But Fulla meant to address Africans. It's actually it's actually strong, it's actually healthy. So understand your little history and read up and so forth. But back in the days, Tony Hack, thank you so much. Fulla is a word came from Africa. The real word is Fulani. Got you. Thank you so much, Tony. Appreciate it, right? And so back in Guyana, when you call a Muslim a Fulla, they'll get vexed. But the Muslims themselves are Fulla. Tony Hack, thank you so much. Fulla. So our Indian brothers and sisters didn't take too much liking to the word Fulla, right? Jamal, Fulla. So actually, gosh, do some reading, man. Do some reading. Conrad August, always. Hey, it's a pleasure, man. I haven't seen Conrad in a while, right? But back in the days, in the early 90s, everybody played. The Africans played something close to Pagua. They all celebrated. They all had fun together. So this is a tradition. It's all happened. Back then, the Indians who came to Guyana, they were taught a lot of African things. When you see the flags and you see the bells and you see the rolling pin and these things, Africans were using that years upon years. When you see how the African women tie up, you see the Indian women tie up their head. You see how the African women dress. You see how the Indian women dress. You see how the African women or the Africans sit down and they eat and from here and it's sani the hand. That has always been African culture. Don't be fooled. Take a close look at how our Indian brothers and sisters operate, especially out in India. Then take a look at how our African brothers and sisters operate and ask yourselves, is there any difference? The answer is obviously no. A lot of how our Indian brothers and sisters operate in Guyana is as a result of learning from our African brothers and sisters, our African ancestors that taught them almost everything. And this is no disrespect to my Indian relatives or my friends. Some may call me and say, Mark, why you talk? Right? But it is the truth. It is the truth. Africans prepare to celebrate emancipation. Something that didn't come too easily at all. 400 years of forced slavery. This wasn't a couple mornings of cutting canes and this. It was 400 years. Which other ethnic group endured that? Come on, let's be realistic. 400 years of forced slavery, your culture's taken away from you, every single thing taken away from you, your religion taken away from you, your family split up, not by choice, but by force, rape, all manner of things, murders for 400 years. Had it not been for emancipation, and I want to say this, had it not been for emancipation, there would not have been a Guyana today. And especially the melting pot that we see existing right now. So don't be fooled. When they call you, what is it? They call you guys, they call Africans lazy and all. Don't buy into that crap. Don't buy into that crap. That's why I don't get vexed. I don't get vexed at all. Let's see what Marlene Lorem is saying. The Jandi flag, some of the spiritual ceremonies, of course. The Jandi flag, the spiritual ceremonies, and all these manner of things. They got some Africans, and trust me, lots of them under quarantine could do a Jandi. You You would really think that Jandi is only our Indian brothers and sisters alone could do Jandi? They got some black folks, well, Africans, you see, African folks in this village. They had a lady named Mother Mary. And Mother Mary read the Bhagwan Gita and she say her prayers and all these manner of things. They got lots of our Indian brothers and sisters used to go by Mother Mary. Lots of other mother, they used to go and they used to go seaside. They used to do the thing. They used to do Jandi, knock the bell, go wedding house and all manner of things, you know. So don't be fooled. So I'm not going to knock our African brothers and sisters who go out and Jandi and all them kind of things. It's okay to embrace. And I want our Indian brothers and sisters to embrace part of their culture too. African culture is Indian culture derived from African culture. Some may get vexed, but it's the truth. Isaac Davis, I know you remember Mother Mary. This trench, this primary school trench, go all the way down at the back there. And you see Mother Mary there. But when Africans do these sort of religious ceremonies, you know what? Let me see how smart some of you guys are. When our Indian brothers and sisters do their Jandi and thing, right? And they knock the bell, tang tang, tumewa mata, chapita, tumewa vidya, shabigan, tumewa, tang tang. When our Indian brothers and sisters do it, and mind you, this is no mockery because I also grew up in a Hindu home as well, Hindu and Christian. So this is no mockery for me. I actually have respect for all religions, but I'm just making an example here. But when Africans do these things, guess what it is called, Africans? If you see back in the days, probably still now, you see a man dressed up with the African dhoti. You see, we got some smart people here, right? Diane Graves, and right away, they say Zobia. Right away, the Africans, once they do anything, they knock a bell, they put up a flag. Oh, there's a big Obia man. There's a big Obia lady. Rhonda Lane, I got you. I hear you, Rhonda Lane. I'm sure they're calling you Obia lady to Rhonda. It is, and not only the Indians. I'm not saying our Indian brothers and sisters are the ones who do that. No. Sometimes we do that. Because in the village, Philippi, Alice, and so forth, say, for example, J.R. Crawford put on an African outfit when we were little boys. We call he Obia man. We call he Obia man, but we ain't gonna call Pandit. We ain't gonna call Pandit nothing. We say Pandit, Namaste, Namaskar. You know? But the minute we see a black man dressed up like that, or African, sorry, is Obia in his tail, right, Crawford? So, Rhonda, you're correct also. Africans do their own. They're being called Obia. Obia man or Obia woman. Rhonda, by the way, I know you have something coming up in your village. And I'm going to give you a call now, Rhonda, on your phone, actually. Please answer, because I want you to talk to our listeners. What is it that you have in your village, right? Tell us what you have in your village coming up for, what is it, Emancipation. So I'm calling Rhonda Lane right now so that Rhonda Lane can tell us what's going on in her village for Emancipation celebration. I don't care if you call me Obia man or whatever it is, but we got to stop with these sort of things. Rhonda, good evening. Hi, Rhonda.
Yeah, good night, Mark.
Good night. Tell us what's going on in your village, Denamstel, right?
Oh, yes, Denamstel.
What's happening in Denamstel?
We started our Emancipation celebration on Saturday with a fitness walk from Iflot to Denamstel. That was done at 6 o'clock in the morning. We got back, and the next the continuation of that is on Sunday. We have a 10 o'clock mass church service with all the different churches And that church service will be at the community center, the Amstel Community Center, at 10 o'clock. Then from 7 o'clock in the evening of the 31st, we'll be having a candlelight procession that goes around the village, ending up at the community center, where we will have a little cultural presentation along with the lighting. We do light a bonfire, and we have drumming. We will share food and serve free food, make them African food. That ends at midnight. Then the next morning, Emancipation morning, there is a run from Lenora to Den Amstel, and there is also a bicycle race from the village of Crane to Den Amstel. And the competitors return later in the day. We will go back to the Den Amstel Community Center for a fun day. That ends on, that is the 1st of August. And then I, Ron the Lane, will be having my annual African concert on the 21st of August at 3 p.m. at the Den Amstel Community Center, where we'll be having children doing the different tidbits in culture, and there will be skits, poetry, dances, songs. I do address the people who attend, the persons who attend the show. And this year we'll be having some clothing. African dishes will be on sale. And for the first time, I will be publishing a little book on poetry, the poems that I do. I will be having that. That is on the 21st. Then on the 25th of August, all the children who took part in that concert will be going on a trip to the city, to Linden 10, where we will go. We're going to the places of note, different places we'll be checking out. And when we finish checking out those places, we'll spend the balance of the day at the place, the site where they're putting down the stadium. Where the adults who attend will have to pay a fee of $3,000. But the children, they will be going free.
All right. Lots of events coming up to mark the Emancipation Day celebration from the Den Amstel area. Rhonda Lane is on the phone with us. She's talking about the events and so forth, and all the best. I hope you guys are you guys getting support and so forth, especially from not Sue, but agencies
Mark, that's a big problem, because remember, I usually talk about the house slave, and it was handed down that the house slave got some kind of money. I don't want to say much on it because I don't know if it is true. But what is coming through the grapevine, that the house slave got some money from, I think it's the two-inch stump. And this money has been filtered, and he now is trying to cause a segregation in the village with Emancipation. Now the village has a group that is called DACO, Den Amstel Cultural Organization, and they are the persons who does emancipation from since when. But now with him, he is rising up. He has a CDC, and a CDC that is trying to cut across all the plans for the village.
All right. Forget about two-inch stump. We focus on forget about two-inch stump. We want to focus and ensure that you guys become successful in whatever it is that you're doing, the drums and all manner of things. And in whatever way we can support to broadcast it, we will be here with you 100%. And for your celebration, I know that in things like this, it costs a bit of money. You guys are doing some good things, taking the kids out to Linden and so forth, and that excursion. Whatever little we can do to support you, I just want to, on behalf of us here at Benchap Radio, to make a contribution of 20,000 Guyana dollars to you for the celebration.
Thanks very much, Mark.
And if others want to support you and the initiative, what's your number, please?
My number is 592-617-3758. That's my number.
All right. You don't mind if I publish it, right?
No, I don't mind.
617-3758. All right. Whatever, even if folks, if you're in Guyana, whatever you want to, or even if you want to head down to Den Amstel for the celebrations, give Rhonda Lane a call and support this event in whatever way you can support it. And thank you so much for all that you do. And please don't have Twin Stump get to you. Let's focus on the positive things. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rhonda. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye. Yeah. All right. Rhonda Lane, if you know Rhonda, you know Rhonda. Rhonda mouth hot. Rhonda tells it like it is. And Rhonda even abused me out one time too, but we all know Rhonda, man. We love Rhonda. Rhonda tells it like it is, like I've said, but sometimes, I don't agree with everything that she says. I don't agree with everything, but she's entitled to say and to speak her mind. But Rhonda will be Rhonda. That is why we are happy to support Rhonda and her initiative out there. If you have whatever little that you can support Rhonda Lane and this Emancipation Day stuff, just give her a buzz. Even if to call and say a little prayer for she, and whether it's a Hindu prayer, Muslim prayer, something, just pray for her or something. All right, good. So we're looking at the time. You guys know we've been on practically all day. All day we've been on, right? What else? Rhonda is saying thanks. You're welcome, Rhonda. I noticed that there is a request for us to a request from Sri for us to he wants to hear Sace-Narine. Sace-Narine is the turnaround expert for GuySuCo. Before we go, we'll give Sace-Narine Singh the award again, another award for this evening. So this is Sace, has nothing to offer. And like I've said earlier, Tony Vera is quiet. God in heaven knows why he's quiet now. And Tony has a big mouth.
They give you, they expect gratefulness from you. And this is what President Pierre Fanali got to face from y'all. They used to call Moses Nagamutu Nimakaram. I never said that. I said they used to call Moses Nagamutu Nimakaram. Because when the PPP made him, that's when he stopped the freaking PPP. Same thing with Ramshit and everything for your education. The PPP gave it to him. And we do. Stop the PPP when the PPP needed it. Yeah, but today, we call one strike. Strike when you got fresh cane there.
That is not fresh cane, boss. That's pure mud.
All right.
Pure mud in there. After filter operator, that's pure mud.
He got caught. He thinks the cane harvesters, the cane cutters are dotish people. He thinks that the cane cutters attended Iflat University, right? But the guys caught him. So that incompetent individual, Sace-Narine Singh, that is running down GuySuCo, ruining GuySuCo. God in heaven knows where they're putting the billions of dollars, taxpayers' money. This award goes out to GuySuCo's acting chairman and all the other acting CEO, and all the other incompetent individuals there at GuySuCo. This is for them. All right, I guess it's that time that we have to bail out of here, but we will be back tomorrow, same place, same time, God's willing. Continue to have a great rest of the evening. Don't allow these vagabonds to get to you guys. They're basically not worth your time or any sort of headache. Just ignore them. These vagabonds will just be around for a short period of time. Short, very, very, kind of like a to stump period of time. To stump period of time, right? They are on the verge of self-destruction. They will self-destruct. They don't know how to govern. They don't know how to do things. Well, certain things they know how to do, right? Maybe we should call Sue, and Sue should tell us exactly what are the certain things that they like to do. But Sue says it all. Sue says it all. Vice News says it all. And we just leave it as that. But for now, thank you all for tuning in. God bless you, and God continue to bless your family and that beautiful country, Guyana. Until tomorrow, same place, same time. So long.
Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take the message, everybody. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow.